Thomas Hellie. I live in McMinnville, Oregon. I am president of Linfield College, and I'm here today representing the 18 private nonprofit institutions of the Oregon Alliance of Independent Colleges and Universities. Although our colleges are individually quite diverse, the Alliance is comprised of regionally accredited nonprofit institutions of higher learning. Each is founded on and guided by a mission imbued with certain important social principles, namely that education is the key to ending poverty, fostering economic and social mobility, and that education builds community, preparing adults for lives of meaningful work and citizenship. And so I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk about independent higher education, our partnership in supporting the state's educational attainment goals, and our shared stake in the state's current and future economic and social well-being. As state policymakers, I'm sure you're hearing what public and private college and university presidents also hear from Oregon's business leaders. They urge us to graduate students who can compete in knowledge-based industries and global economies. Accordingly, our state educational attainment goals call for all Oregonians to be high school graduates, for 40% to hold associate's degrees or equivalent credentials, and for another 40% to hold bachelor's or higher degrees by the year 2025. At present, the Higher Education Coordinating Commission reports that about 35% of Oregonians ages 25 to 34 hold bachelor's or higher degrees, 5% short of the goal and 8 years away from the deadline. The Alliance has been a longtime partner in this effort to increase the educational attainment of Oregon residents. Currently, 1 in 5 undergraduate students at a four-year college or university in Oregon is enrolled at an Alliance member school. And collectively, our member schools confer 22% of the state's undergraduate degrees and nearly half of master's and doctoral degrees in the state of Oregon, something that many people don't realize. The fastest growing occupational fields, STEM professions, including health professions, demand higher levels of post-secondary education in many cases. And Alliance member colleges and universities confer significant percentages of STEM degrees. Specifically, 20% of the state's core STEM bachelor's degrees, 24% of business management and marketing bachelor's degrees in the state are conferred by our colleges, 22% of economics and political science degrees, 34% of math and statistics bachelor's degrees, 38% of education bachelor's degrees, 35% of all health professions bachelor's degrees, including 60% of all nursing degrees, and 34% of international relations bachelor's degrees. But that said, Oregon's private independent colleges and universities cost the state very little. Our schools receive no direct allocations from state coffers. The Oregon Opportunity Grant, for which we are very grateful, represents a small but very important fraction of the state's higher education resources. It's allocated, of course, directly to Oregon students who can put those resources toward their expenses at any Oregon college or university, public or private. As one who grew up on a farm and was the first in his family to go to college and went to a very small high school, it was only because of grants like this that I was able to attend a small private liberal arts college and be propelled in a career that probably wouldn't have been possible if I'd gone to a large university where I would have felt out of place. In 2016, 92% of this state's total opportunity grants went to students enrolled in public colleges and universities, but about 8% went to students enrolled at Alliance member institutions, that is, to about 2,500 students. Oregonians make up 72% of Linfield College's students. A quarter of those students rely on the Oregon Opportunity Grant to attend college. And as those are our state's most economically disadvantaged students, that support is much appreciated and very important. Our Alliance member schools seek to make Opportunity Grant dollars go as far as possible, of course, and we leverage them with our own institutional aid by as much as 475% in our students' educations. An August 2017 study conducted by the TIAA Research Institute for the Council of Independent Colleges showed that a bachelor's degree from a public institution is 6.4 times more costly to state taxpayers than a bachelor's degree from a private institution. For example, if the undergraduates at Alliance member schools were instead enrolled at state institutions, their undergraduate educations would cost taxpayers an additional estimated $166 million from start to finish. So, every time an Oregon student chooses a private nonprofit institution instead of a public one, it saves the state money because that student's education is primarily paid through private college tuition and donor dollars, as opposed to state tax revenue. Now, there are a lot of myths about private higher education, and I'd like to dispel some of the most common ones. First, that we serve predominantly white institutions, or white students, from middle class and upper middle class families. The 35,000 students on our campuses today reflect a diversity of communities and experiences. That is, 1/3 of our students hail from demographic groups historically underrepresented on our nation's college campuses. I should also note that 1 in 3 Oregon degrees, bachelor and higher, earned by students of color, 1 in 3 of the Oregon degrees earned by students of color, and 1 in 4 STEM or health baccalaureate degrees earned by students of color are conferred by an Alliance member school. And we have the highest graduation rate in Oregon among students of color. 1 in 5 of our students is the first in their family to attend college, and 1 in 3 is eligible for federal Pell Grants. In short, our students are socially, economically, racially, and ethnically diverse. Another private college myth is that it's only available to students of significant financial means. And obviously, that can't be true if 1 in 3 of our students is Pell eligible. We serve many needy students. It is true, the advertised price, which represents the actual cost of private college, is very high. But thanks to the generosity of alumni, friends, community partners, and others, 93% of our students receive financial aid. And the average institutional grant across all Alliance schools is $20,000 per student per year. As a result, 28% of our students graduate with no debt, and the average debt load for students who do have debt is about the same as the students graduating from Oregon's public universities. But finishing college and finishing on time also has important implications for out-of-pocket cost and student debt. Currently, more than 60% of students at private independent colleges in Oregon finish their undergraduate degrees in 4 years. More than 60% in 4 years. The Higher Education Coordinating Commission currently reports that more than 60% of students at state colleges and universities take 6 years to complete their bachelor's degrees. Oregon's private colleges and universities offer a 12-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. Our students engage in undergraduate research, internships, and other experiential learning. Small classes, ready access to academic and career advising, and other educational services provide critical support and guidance to keep students on track and, as Governor Brown puts it, to graduate on time with a plan for their future. We know that every extra quarter or semester beyond 4 years that it takes a student to finish not only means additional out-of-pocket costs, tuition and fees, room and board, etc., it also means delaying entry or re-entry into the workforce and lost earnings, and that's a significant disadvantage for that student. It also means lost momentum. There's a growing national concern about student debt and how crippling that debt can be, both for those who finish college, but even more for those who don't finish, who never reap the economic benefits of a post-secondary degree. Our students' loan default rates are the lowest in the state. And the fact that our default rates are collectively lower tells you something about the affordability of private college. Our graduation rates underscore our commitment to helping students finish and finish on time. And finally, Alliance schools are Oregon's longstanding economic partners, contributing $3.2 billion to the state economy each year. Collectively, we employ more than 8,800 people, more than $400 million in earnings. Our students also spend money in our local communities, an estimated $750,000 per day on lodging, transportation, and personal expenses. And our alumni love Oregon. We estimate that more than 400,000 alumni graduating from Alliance member schools, that's about half, currently live here. Our graduates embark on a variety of careers or continue their studies at graduate and professional schools or both. Among our graduates are Oregon governors and secretaries of state, chief justices of the Oregon Supreme Court, members of Congress, and the Oregon House and Senate. Our alumni teach our children, provide our health care, take care of our elders. In short, they make Oregon a better place to live. So here's what I hope you will take away today. First, that Oregon's private nonprofit colleges are longstanding partners in achieving the state's attainment and workforce goals. Second, that we prioritize access and affordability, serving a diverse array of students and delivering excellent outcomes. And third, that student success depends on finding the school that's the right fit. Different students learn differently, and student success will ultimately depend on matching students with colleges that best fit their approaches to learning. Independent colleges must continue to be among the choices available to Oregon students. And so, on behalf of my presidential colleagues, I thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'd like now to introduce Luis Perez Morales, a Linfield student, a junior who has a double major in chemistry and math and a 3.9 GPA, I discovered this afternoon, to tell you about his private college experience, and then if there's time, we'd be happy to take your questions.
Okay. Mr. Chair, committee, representatives, my name is Luis Perez. I live in McMinnville, Oregon. I'd like to share with you a little bit of what I have been working on over the past 3 years. I have worked on student-faculty collaboratives research, and I have the chance to present my research on the Murdoch Science Conference this past weekend. And I'm also going to present my findings on the American Chemical Society National Meeting on Louisiana, New Orleans, next year. Right now, currently, I am the secretary for Pi Mu Epsilon, the Mathematical Honor Society on college. And well, that's everything that I wanted to say. Thank you. Actually, before my time is up, I'd like to thank the committee for supporting the Oregon Opportunity Grant, because without it, I will not be able to attend Linfield College. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take questions after. Oh, you just.
I defer my time to Luis, so thank you,
very
Kristen
nice.
Grainger, Alliance
Yeah.
President.
And you are the president of the organization. Thank you very much for being here as well. Any questions for any of the people? So I guess I will ask, is it Luis?
Yeah.
What's your, what do you anticipate doing after you get out of college?
That's an excellent question. I have two possible options. One of them is becoming an actuary, and the other one will be to go on to graduate school and earn a doctorate, PhD, or a master's degree. And I'm looking at UFO or OSU for that.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. It's always good to hear from students, much better than all those other people. But it's nice to know that the next generation of Oregonians is using the facilities that we have here to improve their lives and the lives of their families. So thanks for being a part of it. And
Just a
Yes.
generic comment. I appreciate the independent college and university. The statistics you presented were quite astounding. We deal with the public university system over and over and over again. And the statistics that you share with regard to the impact you're having in students' lives and the cost-effective rate which you're attaining those is a great slideshow. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
So we'll